All right, continuing along, Bronco Nation news. As I've been saying, I'm doing the Lindy's Magazine Mountain West previews this year, and so thought, hey, let's try to double dip here and get some summer basketball coverage for the Mountain West on Bronco Nation news. So always one of our favorite guests to catch up with, the head coach at San Jose State. Tim Miles joins us here on Bronco Nation news. Tim, appreciate your time. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Loving the summer and excited to be on your show, BJ.
Yeah, appreciate it. We enjoyed catching up with you down at Media Days, and always enjoy the matchups with San Jose State and Boise State. And your team, obviously 2 years ago, heck of a year. You go 10-8. You're the conference, Mountain West Coach of the Year. And then obviously last year was a little bit of a struggle for you guys, as you know. Just give us kind of the big picture synopsis, I guess, of what went wrong last year and where you guys are at, and trying to get back to where you were 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was the favorite coach of the year last year. They loved playing me because they could kick our butts. I think what happened, if you go back, we certainly lose Amari Moore, Mountain West Player of the Year, more importantly than the coach guy. He was big, but we lost a whole bunch of front line, and quite frankly, we just weren't prepared NIL wise to compete in the marketplace, and I think that hurt us. Then, Rob Baihola, who was projected to be our starting center, we're out for the year in October with foot surgery. And then we lost some other guys kind of throughout the year. And pretty soon you don't have enough. And this league is a very good league. 6 teams in the NCAA tournament. So, when you're a place like San Jose State, your margin of error is very slim, very small. As you know, over the years, historically, not a competitive program. And that's what we're trying to do, is get it competitive every night out so we can have those 20-win seasons, not just in 1981 and 2023, but let's do it way more often. And that's what we're trying to do.
And obviously having to rebuild the roster. I mean, you had a couple of guys, at least, one key senior that you knew you were going to lose, but then to lose a couple in the transfer portal. I don't know if you were anticipating, losing Amy or Cardenas, but you've had to rebuild this roster. And I guess that's just the state of college basketball, maybe in the Mountain West as well, where you're going to just be doing 1 year at a time, completely new rosters every year. But what was the process, I guess, in terms of what you were expecting to lose, what you lost, and what you had to go out and find?
Yeah, I think that I didn't expect to lose everybody. It didn't surprise me, disappointed me to lose, the starting 3 guys. But that's the way it is nowadays. You just never know how that's going to go. I kind of look at it, and Boise, I believe, has an old CBA team, right? I don't know if, I forget Clay Mosier was their coach, my old friend Clay Mosier. And it's like minor league basketball nowadays, Yep. You're going to have 6, 7 new guys. You're only going to carry maybe a couple guys over. That's the way it's going to be for us. Now, obviously, the more returners you have, the better off you're going to be. You want to keep that. But at the same time, if you don't have the competitive dollars in NIL, you're going to be doing this over and over and over. I think that's the one thing. I was talking with my friend Craig Smith, right, who's with me for a long time, who's the head coach at Utah, and he was at Utah State previously for Mountain West fans. But, we were NEI coaches. And you learn one, like you only have 3 scholarships over 12 or 13 guys. So one guy gets $500, some guy gets $2,000. You kind of learn how to divvy that out and evaluate in a different way. We're kind of doing that whole thing right now, and having 6 head coaching jobs, they're all restarts, and they're usually in need of care when I take over. So we're used to doing this. So I think we've got the experience to do it, and we're excited to do it. But 9 new guys is a lot. BJ, I'll tell you, last week, I saw a guy walking down campus. He wore a Spartan basketball shirt. And I'm like, who the hell is that? I didn't even recognize one of our kids. I'm like, I thought he was taller. But it was just one of those moments that, I think that basketball in our day and age, we're going to have more moments like that.
Yeah, I mean, even Boise State's dealing with that. They didn't expect to lose. Some folks they did, and they're rebuilding it's just the way it is right now. But and you're talking about the Idaho Stampede, who are no longer in Boise. Unfortunately, they moved to Salt Lake City area. But that was always fun to watch some G League basketball, I guess, in Boise. But okay, so 4 scholarship players. We were going through this together. Every team's doing this, but 4 scholarship players back, I believe. I want to talk about some of your newcomers because I know you're really excited about those, including some from the Mountain West. But your 4 returners, could you maybe touch on those guys, or at least your 2 key contributors from last year, and what you're hoping to be able to build around and get from them?
Yeah, I think, it starts on your front line with Rob Viola. I think Rob's got a possibility of being a guy that can average double-figure points and rebounds in the Mountain West. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league 2 years ago. I think, he's not a shot blocker by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a physical, intense, very smart player. Rob spent a lot of the year trying to coach our younger guys up, and he's a very crafty player that way. Ajrami Zhang, before he got hurt, really made an impact in block shots in that other category that Rob doesn't provide. And I think that we need that. And
He's got to
I
stop
think
fouling, though, Coach. He's got to stop fouling. 6 foul outs, right?
Yeah, well, I think that was a lack of strength too, BJ, right? I think that, that what I told him at the end of the year is like, your number one thing has to be core strength and strength, because I think that honestly, like he felt, a little intimidated, a little guys coming at him so physically strong that like you've got to be able to compete and hold your own in there so you don't foul. And I think that's a weight room issue. It's not anything else but, and then that leads to your discipline and everything else that goes with fouling after that. Your knowledge as a player, I think that's improving for him, but no doubt about it, you got to keep him in the game. But that's why I have 3 centers now too, not just one. But I think that he's an important guy. Pasha Gadravi is an elite shooter that redshirted last year, local kid here from Valley Christian. And then Latrell Davis, who I think kind of reminds me of what Myron Amy Jr. did 2 years ago, made an impact in league games, started to establish himself, was effective, especially good in transition. And I think he's going to, continue to propel and step forward and get better.
Uh-oh. There you are. Lost it for a second.
Hey, okay, wait, hang on. So I need to put it on do not disturb maybe?
Whatever works. You're okay, Coach. We're halfway through already. We can just take our chances.
Yeah, some guy called me. Okay, there we go.
No worries. No worries. You were talking about Latrell Davis.
Yeah. I think what Latrell Davis brings, if you look at that last guard position for returners, he's a nightmare in transition. And he reminds me of Myron Amy Jr. Like the impact MJ had 2 years ago. He was productive in Mountain West games. And then that led to future success when he was healthy this year. And I think Latrell, you're going to see that same trend of him just getting better and better.
So I know you just needed bodies. You had to fill a roster. So you're kind of looking, across the board. But was it, what were you kind of looking for in terms of what you needed, whether it's experience or shooting or rebounding or toughness or all the above, I guess. You'll take the perfect player. But I mean, what were you looking for something specific or guys that fit your system, your program? And how did you kind of attack the transfer portal and the 9 newcomers you got?
Yeah, I think you checked all the boxes, right? The things the coach looks for. And one was, we signed 3 guys early that were freshmen, Ben Rosenborough, Jermaine Washington, and Cameron Patterson. And I like all of their abilities. And Ben Rosenborough's physically ready. Maybe Jermaine Washington is too. Cam Patterson's got some work to do. But those are guys we had, in there. And they were, and, let's face it, late, I was looking for experience. I think the average age is over 22 years old of the 5 guys we signed late. And we needed that. So we looked for, first thing I looked for was help on the front line, our ability to defend, rebound the basketball. You can't win till you eliminate losing, right? And defense and rebounding really are your steadfast factors that way. So I thought that we did a good job. A guy, Sada Nagana, is a guy that was at Boise as a forward. Day Hall, who a very productive WAC player, all WAC player. Charles Mariol, 7'2" guy from Oregon State and Maryland, high-level shot blocker again, are all guys that we felt like we needed to bring in. And then Josh Oduzzi, the Mountain West, he's a co-6 man of the year, is a guy that was a scorer at Coastal Carolina and then a key role player for Utah State's championship team. And I think I'm going to put him in a position where he can make a bigger impact too. Will McClendon, transferred from UCLA, had a storied high school career, did really, really well. And we're excited, to get him in a position where he can be more of a feature guy too.
And then Donovan Yap, right? You go back to the Mountain West at Fresno State. You got 3 guys, I think, or I guess 4 if you count Sada, that were once at Mountain West schools on your roster here. So it's the way it is now with being familiar with guys and seeing them and knowing what they can do. And I mean, Boise's got a couple. I mean, every team we got guys in their 3rd Mountain West school, I think, in some cases. I mean, it's just the way it is right now. It never used to be the case, but now it's kind of commonplace.
Yeah, Donovan is that same way. He was at UNLV, Fresno, and now us. And Donovan is a guy that we couldn't stop. He got 15 points. I couldn't find a matchup for him. And so I'm like, well, let's take him, man. I mean, like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. So I'm really excited about Donovan coming in too. And of course, you don't like to have all the newcomers and know, okay, where's our production at? But I think the experience these guys have at the collegiate level is the key part. It's not guys that haven't competed at the four-year level, and they have competed in the Mountain West. So I think we know what we're getting, and I think that helps too.
I know you're getting going with the summer workouts and things like that, and obviously we're still several months from playing games here. But and every coach, I'm sure at this point, likes their team in the summer. I mean, if they don't, that's obviously not a good thing. But do you? I mean, you went 2-16 last year. People are going to be sleeping on you. They're not going to pick you probably very high in the league again this year. I mean, do you feel like you think your team's going to be going to be better than maybe folks are going to give you credit for?
We're better. We're better. There's no doubt about it. I would expect a significant step forward. How much better really kind of depends on the same old things, how healthy you stay. I think the acclimation to the system won't be as big a deal with these experienced guys. It's not like we're depending on a lot of young players like we did actually last year. So I think it'll be all right. I don't like losing those core players that, you have in your program for 3 years at a time. At the same time, the guys we've got coming in, some of these guys played high school basketball together. Some of these guys played in the same AAU program. So there's a level of chemistry that is not the same as just a normal recruiting class. I think we've got some real synergy with that, and I'm excited to get them on the floor.
Yeah, you hate losing them, and then at least in one case, you got to play them twice a year, 2 more times this year. I mean, it's just the way it goes, I guess, unfortunately. But this league, and I guess final thing for you, Coach, this league, I mean, I know everybody's got new rosters, and I know you haven't studied all the other teams and all this. There's transfers. I mean, heck, they're still got you adding and subtracting players at this point. But just in general, with the success of the league last year, and all those, teams building, and you keep a lot of these coaches in the league this year that they are building off what they did at, places like New Mexico and Colorado State and Boise and Nevada and, San Diego State with what they did. I mean, you expect more of the same this year? There's going to be not very many, easy nights in the Mountain West this year.
Yeah, the league, this is the second time I've been in the league, right? I was at Colorado State from 2007 and 2012. And if people remember back then, just as Boise was coming into the league, right, we were putting 4 and 5 teams in the NCAA tournament in 11, 12, 13, right? And so when I left that league, I thought it was a high major league, and went to the Big Ten in Nebraska. And then when I came back, I thought there was probably a correction in there where it wasn't as strong for a couple of years. But as we came back and, Alford came back and it's like the old Big Ten coaches, right? Dutcher was a Big Ten guy. I was a Big Ten guy. Alford was a Big Ten guy. Patino was a Big Ten guy. Nico was with me at Colorado State. So it's a well-coached league, I think. And it's a bunch of guys that have put programs together at high levels, and they're going to continue to do that. And now, it's the fundraising too. You've got to compete in the marketplace with NIL collectives, and we need to do a better job there because we're not up to speed. We improved our situation from where we were a year ago, but we've got to continue to move forward in that space too. And great league. I expect a lot of winning. Fans will be great. They'll love the Alvaro Cardenas is just a great kid. The Bronco fans are going to love having him there. I'm pulling for him except for those 2 times a year or 3 times a year, like you said. But at the same time, Mountain West is going to be as strong as ever.
I was going to wait till media days to ask you about him coming over to Boise. I know that's got to be, like I said, I know it happens and it's just going to become more and more commonplace, but that's got to be, you're being nice publicly, but that's got to be tough to recruit a guy, have him for all that time, then not only lose him before his senior year, but to go to a rival in the league.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of those guys that didn't have a Division I offer except for us. And to lose those guys and that, it's disappointing. But at the same time, you want the best for the young guy. You want to support him. I think, the maturity in the room and the level of leadership that you try and provide means that you want to wish them well and you want them to do well.
Oh, that's nice of you to say, Tim. We appreciate your time. Looking forward to following San Jose State. And I agree on paper. I mean, a lot of these names are very intriguing names on paper in terms of who you've added. So it should be an exciting season. Looking forward to it. Best of luck with all the summer workouts and things. And we'll see you down probably in Las Vegas in October for media days.
Thanks, BJ. I appreciate it, man.